Hello everyone. Very briefly check my settings and we can start discussing some chess tournaments, some chess games, and some chess news. Okay, let's see. Hopefully, yeah, seems like we are live on YouTube. And what about Twitch? What about Twitch? Yes, on Twitch as well. Hmm. Hello everyone. Yes, we can start our stream, and we have mainly two events to discuss. One is, of course, chess.com Open or chess.com Championship and the finals between Magnus Carlsen and Jan Christoph Duda. I think uh, if Duda wants to win the uh, championship, he needs to defeat Magnus twice because Magnus already won against Duda. But in the losers bracket, Duda won all his matches, and now he has chance to play against Magnus again. So we have another 11 minutes before before the start, and of course something which is mm, honestly speaking shocking and surprising, but I'm also super happy. Greenlandic National Championship 2026 broadcast and live analysis on lichess.org. I would like to I would like to just check. Yes, I think this is round 5 ongoing, and we can see, yes, we can see some of the games without really checking with the engine. Yes, white is completely winning. Many moves are there. You can try g6, g4 also should be enough. Maybe even some sacrifices. I think knight f7 also finishes the game, no? You need to take, and then I go queen e6. I'm threatening rook f7 or queen f7, and g6 is also coming. So d4, d5, c4. Karl Fleischer, 1635 against Egon Matak, 1495. Yes, here c takes d, knight f3, bishop g5 are the main alternatives. Yes, I'm not familiar with f3. I think black can easily go c5. So here, let's say knight f6, c4 e6, knight c3, bishop b4, f3 is one of the main moves in this position. Hello, hello. No, no, no. I don't have any students in this tournament. And this is something surprising for me. And because of that, I decided uh, to have this stream and analyze some of the games. We need to promote. We need to promote chess uh, in countries or territories like this one. Yes, here f3 is one of the main moves. Yes, f3 c6. I'm not sure about c6. I think c5 should be very good. And here bishop g5. Again, black can easily take, can go h6, bishop e7, queen d3. Yes, here e4 shouldn't be working because I have d takes c. I can also take knight e4. I guess knight e4 is very good. You take f takes, bishop g5 is coming. You take knight e4. I can choose between bishop g5 or d takes c. Black is massively better. And if you take, I will take here. Again, b takes c, queen e7. If you take bishop d8, I have knight d1. You take rook d1, I take king d8. And if you move the knight, then I have knight e3 or knight b2. So e4 isn't working. Queen d3. Again, black can take d takes c. Short castle should be enough. This is good. Even this one is good. Having ideas to go bishop a6 and now bishop a6 and now bishop takes c4. Black is massively better. And now I'm not sure about knight g4. You can go short castle. You can of course take and here anything. Not even knight g4, moving the knight. So it was knight g4 here. Bishop e7, knight e3 comes. F takes bishop h4. Black is threatening bishop g5. That's why king b1, bishop g5, queen g3. And this one, of course, black is better, but not that obvious. Bishop f1, rook f1, bishop h4, maybe stopping h4, queen d3, d takes c, knight, queen takes c4, bishop f6, knight f3, and some small compensation, or maybe even enough compensation. Yes, I think enough compensation. a5, h4, threatening g5, and now knight e5, attacking here, and now g5, h5, and white hasn't played yet. No, this is of course lost. This is of course lost for 1418 rated Niels Janussen or Janussen against Hans Christian Dahl. And black of course won the game. White resigned. Let's see the second board. Wow. Wow, wow. Okay, Aronson Niels 1432 is playing against Jeremy Jeremiason Eli. And let's see the game. D4, E5. England Gambit. And here the best move, of course, to capture. D5. E4 I don't like. You can easily go knight F6. So E4, bishop F4. It's always better to take your bishop out and then go E3. Bishop C5. Knight C3. Knight F6 and bishop G5. Wow. Another huge inaccuracy. Yes, you need to go e3. Later on, you can go knight e2, maybe knight g3. After e3, you can also consider g4, g5. You can also go e3, bishop c4. I don't like bishop on c4 because always d6 comes. But bishop g5, yes, huge blunder. Bishop f2 comes. And then knight g4 and queen takes g5. h6, and now bishop takes, queen takes, and knight takes. Yes, here the best should be queen b2, of course, forcing you to take, and now, no, taking actually does not work because queen c3, this is game over because takes, and then check, and then queen takes c5. So here you need to play something like knight f3, I guess, or even c3, stopping checks. That was queen e7, and now takes, and white is, of course, massively better. But not everything is over in this game. In a high level, this is almost almost over. Knight f3, computer doesn't like this because queen b4 is there and then queen takes b2, but black doesn't play it, short castle. And again, you need to play some queen d2 or maybe c3, but not e4 because queen b4 again comes, forces you knight d2, and then I can take queen b2. So d6, bishop d3. Again, computer always says like, uh, why aren't you stopping queen b4? But white says, once opponent didn't play queen b4 move earlier, won't play now. Bishop g4. Okay, short castle, knight d7, h3. You can take, but position anyway remains unpleasant. a3, a5, stopping b4 and preparing b4. And here bishop e2, rook e8, knight h4. Of course, white doesn't play well because here bishop takes e2, queen takes e2, and early goes queen takes d5. And now he takes the rook e2 comes. And yes, queen g4, but after queen g4, rook takes e4. And if takes rook takes h4, you need to take, otherwise you are down a pawn. And I have queen c6, and here rook c4 comes. And of course, I take pawn on b2, and black is slightly better, f3. But your knight doesn't do here anything. And now queen d4, and now queen takes b2. Queen c4 attacking the pawn, knight c5, knight f5 activating the knight, queen goes back. And all this I fully understand and fully support. Wait. Really? Really? In this position, white went queen b3, plundering the queen, and black hasn't captured on b3? No, I don't think. Knight b3 is there. Black went queen e6, and now queen c3. And here black plundered queen g7. Queen g7, b6, queen g7, and checkmate. Wow. 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 Okay, this one we have seen, black won. Yes, c3, e6, short castle, bishop e7, d4, c takes, d5. Very typical, e takes d, bishop d3, knight f6, knight c3, short castle, bishop g5. Maybe you could start with h3, stopping bishop g4, and probably here bishop g4 with black could go queen d2, maybe preparing this, knight g4. Computer doesn't like this knight g4. h3 takes with the queen, rook e8, rook e1, knight e2, and now just takes. Yes, black is already having ideas to move the bishop away. And now bishop takes, queen d2, bishop g4, and now takes and takes and takes. No need to capture, queen c8 is also enough. Yeah, should be completely winning, and no need to capture, I guess, because of this. It doesn't look that obvious. Because it was d4, queen b7, and here d3. Computer says queen f5 comes because d3, queen e4, queen g6, and yes, something like queen d5, which doesn't look simple, you know. You go queen d5, and black cannot make any progress, but here queen g6, and pawn endgame is lost because you aren't winning my pawn. Of course, you can slowly go b4, a4, b5, but this is good, king d4, and now king c4, takes, and this pawn endgame is lost because black's king is super near. You need to play king c4. Here, of course, f4. f4, black cannot move the h pawn, g pawn, and f pawn, and if you go somewhere, then f5 comes. So it was this, and then takes g5, and now you, of course, need to go king e4. But it's not like super easy, yes. The justification is king e3, of course. And now if you go king d5, I have f4. But if I play king d5, you go here, and I play this, you go here. And if I go f4, you have this, because this king is coming here. Okay, king g4, and now king e5, and now king f5, and then king is coming to f4, and now this, and king e3, of course. Yes, I can easily go f4, I can just move my king, because if you play king g2, then f4 comes, and now g4. And here, of course, black is slowly taking the pawn. And very soon we'll start. And this one. So Christiansen, Uno, Colby is playing Fleischer, Sophie, Emily. Okay, e4, e5, d4, he takes d, c3. Wow. Knight f6 and d5 are the moves. He takes in bishop c4, not even capturing knight c3, bishop c4, of course. And here c takes b should be okay. D6, knight takes c3, knight f6. Yes, computer doesn't like it much, but anyway, black isn't. Uh, yes, I think Magnus will win, and Magnus is playing very high level chess as always. Magnus will win, but we can root for Duda. E5 d takes c, and here bishop f7 would have been way stronger. You go bishop f7, king f7, then queen d8 comes. You need to go king e7, and here white is choosing, of course, between queen b3, which is much stronger than capturing there. But queen d8, king takes d8, bishop f7, of course, black isn't having any problems. They are pawn up, bishop d7, bishop g5, bishop c5. Not sure about bishop c5. You need to keep your bishop on e7, I guess. Now knight d5. Just rook f8. Rook f8, and if takes, yes, I think I can take g takes f because here I go king c8 and you are losing one of your pieces. So it was bishop b4. Oh, heavy blunder. Heavy blunder, knight takes b4. Bishop g4, knight d5, and here e4, and knight f6. And now f takes c, knight g4, long castle takes, and checkmate. Now, unfortunately, Sophie Emily didn't play well in this game. But why aren't we starting the... And today's fifth game. So we have Fleischer. Again, seems like... Hello, hello. Seems like Fleischer family uh, has few members in the national championship. And Peterson, Ernie, Erninguak. So white is 1400 and black is 1639. So if 4 c5, knight c3, knight c6, knight f6, knight f3, d6, d4 c takes the knight d4, and here knight f6 is the main move, g6, which is also possible, bishop b5. You can go bishop e3, bishop b5 also looks quite tempting, bishop b5, bishop d7, knight takes d6. Yes, both b takes c and bishop c6 should be okay. Here I don't like capturing on. These games remind me from when I was a kid and started learning chess. It was fun. Every position was a mystery and almost every move a blunder. Yes, yes, I fully understand. I completely share your opinion. and I fully understand you. But the point is being because uh, uh, like very very few people, maybe few hundred, maybe not even few hundred people are living in what's the population of Greenland? Any ideas? Population of Greenland. Oh, it's actually, as of January 1st, 2026, the population of Greenland is 56,740. Mhm. And in Nuuk, yes, I heard about Nuuk. Uh, yes, about 19,900 people. And they have a championship. Wow. Of course, I was thinking and I was expecting the numbers to be much lower than 19,900 or 56,000. But anyway, it's super interesting that people there, they are also playing chess. Okay, this I wouldn't take on c6. Black can easily take with the b pawn and then bishop g7, knight f6. Yeah, short castle, queen f3, knight f6, and computer doesn't like knight f6, maybe because of e5. Yes, of course, typical idea, e5. Yes, and where do you go? Maybe knight d5 is the best because d takes c, queen c6. You don't have queen d7. Rook is hanging. Knight d7. I can at least go rook d1 and stop short castle ideas. And if you go king f8, something like bishop e3 or rook d1 or bishop g5, black. Yes, knight d5 is the strongest, of course. And if I take, you take. I take e takes d, you can take queen d6. If I take here, you can take bishop e5. Yes, but I have this unpleasant check and then another unpleasant check. But you can go bishop g7, but of course I'm not forcing uh, trade off these bishops. I'm forcing bishop to go g7 and I will retreat my bishop somewhere. Okay, it was bishop f4, now short castle e5 and knight d5. You see, 1639 went knight d5, threatening knight f4, d takes c, takes, and here d takes c. Wow, very smart. And here you need to take knight d7 and retreat your bishop, but it was this, and c takes d, black is massively better. And now d4 or e4. Yes, e5 and d4 is coming, also e5 and f5 is coming, bishop b2. Maybe you can try c4, but bishop d4 takes, e6, f3, again, queen b6, very good, f6, preparing e5, and then e5. This is game over first. No chance, no chance. So let's go to see the only 2-3 days, 7 rounds. Time control is 30 minutes plus 30-second increment. Online, wow, online, Greenland. And here the National Chess Champion organized by Greenland Chess Federation, 24th, 26th April. Chef arbiter. Standings. How many participants are they having? They started. Magnus is playing e4, c5, knight a3. Um, if I'm not mistaken, this is the move of Vadim Zvyagintsev, well-known, experienced grandmaster from Russia. I think close to his peak rating. He was 26, 60, 70, maybe even close to 2700. I played him few times. Is not so stupid. The knight could be useful on c2. Actually, knight a3 doesn't do anything bad. Hmm. Knight a3 d6 and f4. Now, what's the best actually after knight a3? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I haven't checked. d6 and now f4. Knight f6, c3. Of course, here knight e4 doesn't work because of queen a4 and then queen takes c4, knight c6, d3, g6, knight f3, bishop g7, bishop e2, short castle, rook b8, preparing some b5 stuff, knight c2, and instead of going b5, after b5, Magnus might play some king h1, so c4. If you go d4 or d takes c, I will take knight e4, king h1, c takes d, bishop d3, and we got more or less queen c7. Yes, Magnus, black is having ideas to go b5. I like this idea, queen e1, queen h4. What else do I like? We can go a4 and stop, but if b5 we can also go a3, but I think it's better, if we stop then it's better to go a4. And Magnus goes a4, a6, and will Magnus go queen e2, but I don't like queen e2. Of course, temporary we are stopping b5, but generally I don't like it. Yes, yes, I remembered. Rustam Kasimjanov, he played second a4. And against Amin Tabatabey. If I'm not mistaken, he played in German Bundesliga against Amin Tabatabey, and if I'm not mistaken, he won that game. But of course, uh, yes, you just get some playable position, something new, something fresh, and it doesn't mean that A4 has any special purpose behind. It's very much possible. Yes, thank you very much for reminding about David, Alex. Bishop g4. Queen e1 and bishop g4. We guessed queen e1, bishop g4. Magnus goes bishop e3. I remember a very old game of Anatoly Karpov against Gennady Kuzmin from Soviet Championship. But it was with the knight on c3, pawn on c2. Knight d7. Duda, I don't like knight d7 at all. Magnus is coming to checkmate you and you move the knight, like queen h4. So he does not care about queen h4 and rook h3. He will go h5 or yes, queen h4. And what about knight c5? Why doesn't? But knight c5 I can always take and e5, you know. Already Magnus is having preferable position. You need to go b5. You need to go b5, a takes b, a takes b, and then b4 eventually to. But before I have always rook h3, and now you need to play some knight f6 back, which doesn't seem. Oh, bishop f6. This is possible, of course. Queen h6, bishop g7. I don't think Magnus will repeat. Queen g4 he can go. And most likely Magnus is playing on his tablet again. Like, unbelievable. Can you imagine that all other players and participants, they are, of course, well motivated and focused, having personal computer or a laptop and mouse, probably laptop and mouse. Um, and Magnus is having his tablet and making moves on it. Oops. Uh, C3 knight c2 looks better than knight c3. Yes, yes, yes. Of course, of course. Because first of all, we are restricting this bishop on f6 on this long diagonal. We aren't allowing any knight before ideas, and so far, because anyway, from c3, knight doesn't go to d5 because with the queen on c7 you could go knight d5, but usually black is keeping the queen on d2, and I remember Karpov played some knight e2. Okay, b5, a takes b, a takes b, and of course Dubai is, I apologize, not Dubai, Duda takes knight b4. Magnus, of course, doesn't want to allow any b4, and he's threatening knight d5. Black cannot allow this knight d5 takes, and pair of bishops. And Magnus, of course, he's not going to checkmate Black's king. You can go rook c1, and rook doesn't do anything on f3. Rook doesn't do anything on f3. And Magnus will play queen e2 and rook f1. But queen e2, rook a2 is coming. Wait. Rook a2 can be very unpleasant. Maybe we need to play bishop d4, but I don't like bishop d4 at all. But what about rook a2? How does Magnus? Maybe some e5 stuff, but e5. Time control is 10 minutes without increment, and Magnus is having 5 minutes and 22 seconds, and Duda is having little bit less than 6 minutes. What about rook a2? What if I play rook a2? What if, yes, of course, rook a2, rook a2, and bishop d4 probably, or rook c2. Maybe Magnus wants to play rook c2. Bishop d4, of course, bishop d4. Again, I don't see any problems, any real problems for Duda. He can take and try maybe some rook c8. But rook c8, I will take in bishop b5. Yes, he can take and try. Take some queen b6 maybe. Oh, but queen b6 I will take. Rook a8. He goes rook a8. And what if I take? What if I take and I try e5? Magnus goes king h2. Yes, Duda isn't. I guess he wants rook c2. Is e5 good after bishop d4? Yes, and we see that at some point Duda went e5. Black is having many different ideas, many different ideas. The main point of e5, of course, to capture on f4 and eventually get control, some control or full control over this e5. But now rook f4, of course, rook f4, knight h5, rook f3. And again, this cannot be queen e7, queen e5, queen e7, I guess you need to play. And queen is coming to e5. This cannot be worse. But let's not forget that players are having less than 5 minutes, and there is no any increment. Black would like very much to have this knight on e5. Yeah, the rook a1, of course, and rook a1, bishop b5 shouldn't be working. Will Magnus try to keep and save both rooks? Or yes, he takes, and maybe some queen d4. g4 isn't working, knight goes g7, and knight comes to e6. Bishop b5, queen b5, rook f7. I don't think you have enough threats or any threats, I would say. And queen d4, Magnus, of course, brings his queen into the game. Maybe rook d1, but queen d6 is coming. Queen d6 is coming, and this knight, unfortunately, doesn't do anything. This knight on h5 doesn't do anything. And I'm ready to take queen d6, and I want to take queen d6. Maybe queen a7 you can try, but queen a7, if I take bishop b5, you have some very big problems. Maybe rook a6 you need to play, but definitely you don't want to play rook a6. I think today we are going to see, yes, rook a6. He played rook a6. We are going to see a lot of uh, lines and openings like this one Magnus played. It can be only 3 games. It can be more than 7 games. Queen c7, bishop b3, and of course Magnus is slowly outplaying. This is insane, and Magnus should be winning. This should be winning. Like how strong Magnus is. Yes, this is lost. d5. I mean, you can still play, but d5, e5. I guess Magnus wants to play. He can also go king g1. He goes e5, and now knight g7 should be the move. Wow, knight f6. Knight f6. This is even better. This is even better, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what about queen f4. He will play knight h5 back. If I play rook c3, he will go queen b8. This can be lost already. Yeah, rook f6, and pawn cannot take because of the pin. No, e5 was maybe too ambitious because he played e5, and it would have been better to play a little bit more uh, solid and make a draw. Knight f6, now queen f4, I have knight h5. If I take bishop d5, then you can take rook e6. You have all the chances to make a draw, of course. You have all the chances. And Magnus is, of course, taking his time, and Magnus is having already less than 2.5 minutes. And rook c3, nothing is winning. Queen f4, he goes, knight h5. Duda will play knight h5, I guess, because where else to go? Knight h5, of course, Duda goes. And maybe Magnus wants to repeat. No, I don't believe. I don't believe Magnus will repeat in this position. Queen d4, knight f6 we are having, and Magnus will play something like maybe queen c3 even. But queen c3 I can take, and then knight d7, bishop d5, knight d5. You can try knight rook c3, but queen. Oh, Magnus repeated. Wow, this was definitely yes, and he's of course better. He's better. He can go rook c3, and then after queen b8 or rook c5, and yes, rook e6, bishop takes d5, because now rook e5 I can take bishop f7, and if you take knight d5, queen takes d5. And now let's go to this position. Yes, of course, black isn't having any problems. e5 is one of them. And queen e7, yes, queen e7 or rook a1 takes, queen d4. And now rook d1, but queen d6, queen a7. Wow. Queen c5, some queen b8 check, or queen c5 b takes c, or queen a1. So what's the point? This, let's say I take, you go this, I go queen c5, and you go queen a1. So you are getting some activity. And also let's briefly check knight a3, very much possible move. Very much possible move. And what about knight d7? Ah, this is already better position, and knight d7 computer doesn't like at all. Doesn't like at all. Okay, let's see. They just started. Duda is having white pieces against Magnus, c4, c5, knight f3, and bishop c4, e6, short castle, and here the move is to go knight f6. At least you can go knight f6, and yes, if rook e1, you take knight e4. But Magnus goes bishop d6. Another, yes, here knight f6. d5, he takes d, knight f6 or a6. Yes, everything is okay. I think knight f6, I knew that knight f6 is possible, and rook e1, knight takes c4. Rook takes c4, you go d5, bishop takes d5, you take queen d5, knight is coming to c3, and here you choose between queen d8 or queen f5. Okay, Magnus goes bishop d6, and now rook e1, knight e7. Very interesting. At some point, bishop c7 and d5. You can always get your knight on g6. Short castle ideas are coming. I have c3, d4. I can also go d3. But I don't like d3 because, okay, d3, short castle, and the knight is coming to g6. Okay, I can play a3 or a4 and then knight c3 maybe. No, I like c3. I like c3. I would go c3. c3 short castle d4 or c3 bishop goes c7 d4 and you will go of course d5 and we have some position there. Yes, c3 I like. Yes, b4 and Duda goes b4. This is interesting. And the point is being, of course, if c takes, then I want to play d4 and then d5. You don't have time for bishop c7 and d7, d5. And of course, if you take knight before, this should be the idea. I have also d4, and if you take maybe queen d4, double attack. I have also this c3, typical idea, and then d4. And c takes b, d4. C takes b, no, maybe Magnus hasn't replied yet. But maybe you can go short castle. Maybe you can go short castle, b takes c, bishop c5, and d4 some d5 maybe. Also b4 short castle, b5 knight d4, or maybe even knight d5. No, b4 you can easily castle short side. So Duda didn't play this because maybe because of some shortcuts. Oh no, bishop c7, I guess, right? Bishop c7 you need to play, and I play d4. And now doesn't matter. You can take maybe first and then try. Yes, of course, first take, because here if you go d5, it takes d, and then you take it takes d. Later on, I can easily take with the knight, but anyway, position remains complicated. Yes, you can take, forcing me this, and then d5. I need to take, and you can easily take it takes d, and position doesn't look bad for you at all. Wow. Knight b4 and d4, of course. Knight b4 and d4. Another idea is to go c3. You could also try c3 and then d4. But maybe here I can already go something like short castle. Because e5 ideas aren't dangerous. I have always bishop c7. d5 you can. And d4, of course, c takes d. This is the point. Attacking there. And short castle. Magnus says, please, I don't see your compensation. He takes c, bishop takes c5. Thank you very much. d5 I can always take, e takes d. Yes, e5 you can try. I will go bishop c7 or bishop b8. Probably bishop c7. You can take my pawn, but knight is going back, and the other knight is coming to g6. I don't know. How to play in this position? a3, c3, I don't understand. Knight c3 also. Bishop g5, maybe. You take c, bishop c5, and what do you want? d5. d5 can be interesting. Mm, Having ideas to go a3 and force knight a6. But anyway, you aren't attacking my king at all. You aren't attacking my king at all, and maybe Duda is already regretting. Maybe Duda, young Christoph, is already regretting. Um, I like the way Magnus. And we see that bishop b3, c3, yes, c3, and this is the point. And here you can, of course, go d4. Yes, but here c takes d, knight d4, c takes d, takes d, d5 is coming. And it was b4. C takes b is the strongest, and what's the point? d4, you go short castle, bishop c7 also, so it was d4. Yes, this one is the strongest. And now d5. You need to play d5, but bishop b2. d5 I would d5 I would calculate with white, but I'm scared of e takes b5. Wow. So you don't want to play d5 because it takes d, b5, and yes, I need to take this. And my hope is if you take, depends how do you take to push c4. Okay, it was bishop b2 and b5. Magnus instantly goes b5. Let's also see the time. So bishop takes b5, rook b8, and now knight a3. Players are making some very difficult decisions, like why really here in this position Magnus goes. Because, okay, knight c6, I can always play d5. Knight g6 you have, but doesn't look very impressive. And you don't have time for b6. So Magnus plays immediately b5, bishop takes b5, of course, by Duda. And now rook b8, attacking the bishop. And here Duda doesn't play anywhere. Bishop c4, bishop f1, goes knight a3, defending in this way. And knight g6, Magnus, I have knight c4, but of course Magnus isn't blundering. He can always go bishop e7 or maybe capture on h2. What to do? What to play? We have super complicated position. I like more getting my bishop back. Oops. But bishop back, maybe knight d3. No, knight d3 isn't working. I like bishop b1 because my bishop doesn't do anything there. Duda goes rook b1. Duda plays rook b1. So 7 people are watching us. Thank you very much for your support. Um, Difficult decisions by both players. Rook b1, for example, not very simple. Of course, black cannot really go knight f4. Knight a2 ideas I don't like. When Magnus goes knight a2, Magnus takes the pawn. Magnus takes the pawn and he does not care at all. Because if he goes c3, I can always take c takes d and then bishop takes a3. So in this game, we are going to have a lot of pawn sacrifices. So, as I already mentioned, I like knight c4, but you aren't going to take. You will just play bishop e7 or maybe bishop c7, which is more likely to follow. c3 I don't have, and Magnus says, why not? Let's take the pawn. Hmm. I like e5 and then d5. Going e5 and then bishop goes somewhere like e7 or c7 and then trying d5. But maybe, yes, he wants to play bishop c7 and then d5 or some bishop a5 stuff. Yes. And he goes d5. He goes d5 without e5. And what are we having? What are we having? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what is happening here. And Magnus goes c4. Hmm. Bishop c4 isn't really working because you have, yes, you have some ideas. You can take rook b2, which isn't really working. Well, c4, queen d4. c4, queen d4, and Magnus needs to play some c3. Wow, wow, bishop c3, and Magnus is not worth. Magnus is. Hello, hello, Ari. Hello, how are you? And Magnus is again choosing between e5 and knight takes c3, you know? If you take knight c3, queen c3, this can. Oops. Take knight c3, queen takes c3, this cannot be worse for black, as much as I understand. Uh, and Magnus goes, yes, I think this is the position, he takes d. But here I had some questions. Here of course, Magnus, so d5, this is the strongest, and c4, and now bishop c4 is working. If I take rook b2, my idea was also this, and now bishop a3 I will take. And if you go knight a3, I have this, let's say. And then I'm moving my rook, of course. So bishop c4, and if you go bishop takes a3, bishop takes a3, knight c3, I go rook b8. You take knight d1, I take not rook d1 because of queen c7, I take bishop f8. You go knight f8, and both rook d1, queen c7, rook b4, or d6 are better. So queen d4 and now c3. Otherwise, you will take queen c4 if I go e5. Bishop takes c3, and yes, e5 is another option. So takes, and Magnus goes e takes d, bishop b7, attacking here, knight c4, and queen c7. Again, no doubts. Black isn't having any issues, any problems. Knight d6 you cannot, you are tied up. Queen d4, bishop c5. And Duda is slightly ahead on clock. Maybe he wants to play d6, bishop d4, d takes c, d6, I will play queen c8. Maybe you need to play d6 and queen g4. But bishop c6 is coming. d6, of course, d6 he goes, bishop d4, d takes c comes. So queen c8, queen g4, and now bishop c6. My guess, I also can take bishop f3, but bishop f3 I don't like. I can also afford some f5 stuff. No, Magnus isn't having any issues. The main question, how will he continue? He can go f5. Yes, he goes f5. And now queen h5, I guess. Queen h5, threatening knight g5. He generally should be. Yes, I agree. And now queen g3, a6, and what is happening? Does Magnus want to take on f2 and then queen c4? But that one I'm not sure. Bishop d7 is always hanging. You can try bishop e4, but knight is coming to e5. Bishop c6 isn't. I apologize. No, no, no. It was okay because I was suggesting bishop c6 with the bishop on b5. Bishop d5. Oh. Bishop d7, queen d7. If I take, you will take. Bishop d7, bishop c4. What if I take and knight e5? Magnus wants to play at some point queen b4. Wow. Lots of inaccuracies from both players makes this a bit of fun to watch. Someone wrote in chat room. Okay, 95, of course, 95 without capturing on b8, and now pawn on d7 is under attack. And what if I take bishop d6? Magnus is probably choosing, but no, bishop d6, knight g6 is coming. Bishop d6, knight g6 is coming, and if you take bishop takes. No, but no way, no way bishop d6, knight g6, queen b8 can work, right? This is crazy. This is crazy, and bishop d6 ideas aren't working usually. Bishop g3, knight e7 takes, h takes g, but queen b8. So this isn't working, but I'm not 100% sure like why. Knight f8 not, knight e7 is there, but you can go somewhere with the king, for example. Knight e5, knight e5, of course Magnus goes knight e5, knight e5. And now bishop d6 you can go now. But bishop d6 I have queen d3, bishop e6 and bishop b3. Why not bishop b3? Why not bishop b3? Bishop d6, huh? We'll take bishop d6. Rook d1, queen b8, or rook d1. No, I have some questions here, especially bishop d5, so some mistakes. f4 is better. Bishop e6, so this doesn't. Queen d3. And if I try bishop d6, this. Bishop b3 is the only winning move. Huh. Well, bishop b3, because knight e7, I will play this, or king f8 maybe. Oh, okay. Queen b7, rook d1, queen b7, and now maybe bishop b3, but bishop b3, bishop takes b3. h4, of course, I like h4 more because no need f4, and Magnus doesn't give any time. Magnus doesn't give any time to his opponent. And where should we go? Queen c3, but I don't like queen c3 because you can always play some queen a7. I like queen f3, but you will take maybe g takes f, queen c3, queen a7. No, do that one. Queen d2. This was the point, of course. This was the point. And now again, this pawn on f4 under attack. Maybe he tricked, but queen b4 I can take. Rook d8. Magnus goes, and he blunders. Oh, no, 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 no. Magnus doesn't blunder. Queen f4, rook f8 is coming. And players are having less than 1 minute, which means no increment. Please don't forget. No one cares. Lichess chat says +4. I trust Stockfish users. Of course, all of us trust. But who cares? You have 40 seconds and you don't have access to engines. Oh, ho, ho, Magnus. He blunders. Magnussen. Of course, this is winning. This is even I can win from this position. And Magnus resign. What happened actually from this position? It's not much. And please, just bishop takes f4 and Magnus has all the chances. Look at this. Bishop takes f4, queen f4. And of course, white isn't having any issues, but black as well. You can play anything you want, anything you wish. But not bishop e7, and Magnus Carlsen is going bishop e7, and he blunders the simple tactical idea of knight e6 and then queen d8, and then rook takes, and then rook d7. Oh, this must be painful. This must be painful for. I think we are having some break or what? Let me go to chess.com. Hmm. We go to, where do we go? Watch more Magnus games. Yeah, should be some break. Should be some break, dear friends. Yes, Magnus blundered. Magnus blundered. Oh, black one. Black one from this position. And it was knight f7 and queen e8. Just take queen e6, why not? G6. Mm-hmm. Queen h5. Knight e4. Uh, Again, massively better, but because of time pressure. Why? And then check and he blundered his rook. Mhm. Mhm. German Bundesliga. Yeah, should be some break. Yes, I will be back in a minute. Yes, I'm back. I'm back, dear friends, and should be some. Sure, of course. Please feel free. I checked. I checked all Bundesliga games. Hmm. Vichy's game was super interesting. Vichy played against whom did he play? Yes, Leon Levic. That one was super interesting. Maybe close to end of my stream, I can analyze it more deep, deeper or deeply. But definitely, there is let's game move 50 white. Okay, let me go there. Let me go to Liches, go to German Bundesliga, and you said Robin. Nice, Badetsky. Uh, Move number 50. Move number 50. Wow, yes, yes. And position to a GM friend, and he said he saw the exact same position as the chess exercise. Wow. No, honestly speaking, I see this. I was checking Bundesliga today, like today's round and previous two rounds, and this position I see for the first time in my life. And 8xb, 8xb. Computer says it is better to go a4. Yes, how do I explain a4? I think, yes, the justification of a4 that logically speaking, of course, white wants to keep as many pawns on the board as they can. And another problem is being white wants to play some bishop d4. You are also fixing this pawn on a5 because here with the white pieces you don't go very far away. Black simply plays king f7, and yes, you can play as long as you want, but no any real breakthrough. But the problem is being how do you really uh, activate and attack my pawns? You cannot. My b2 pawn is well protected, and I'm ready to go bishop d4. I will take this and then play king f4, king e4, king d5. Knight b6, I always can go b3. And somehow your knight is super awkwardly placed. So a takes b, a takes b, then now takes king f7. Of course. It's much easier and simpler to take a takes b, but of course it's deeper to go a4 and to keep as many pawns on the board as you can. Yes, and let's see. So bishop d4, knight d2. Oh yes. You are right. You are right. I remembered. I remembered. I didn't know that he played this knight b3 and then knight a1. But I have seen this. Uh, I thought it's anyway. The main idea is you anyway play this. You need to go knight b3 and you need to get your knight on a1. Wow, this is incredible. This is incredible. Yes. Because if you don't play, then I'm slowly coming with the king and getting your pawn. Of course, I can always play f6. My pawn will be protected. And if you take with the knight, then pawn end games are lost. So you go knight b3 and knight a1. Well, yes, you are absolutely right. And now you go b3. Now you go b3. If I bring my king to b1, then I c2. I cannot attack your pawn in other way. And here you can play king e8, king f7, king e7, king f7. Anything you want and you wish. Wow, thank you very much. Very instructive. Okay, they started, and here we have Magnus goes e3, e5, c4, English opening, this a3, d5 takes queen c2. Yes, we got a very interesting line. Takes bishop d6, b4, bishop b2. And we have this position. Yes, Magnus just went bishop d3, bishop d7. Magnus doesn't go for any h4 ideas. He goes short castle. e4 isn't working. What about queen f6? But Magnus always will play some bishop e4. He wants to play bishop e4 at some point. That's the reason why Duda placed his bishop on d7. Mhm. Maybe Duda is thinking about a5, but b5 is coming. Yes, you can activate your queen, but always bishop e4 comes and then d3. And how to play? Maybe some knight somewhere. But bishop e4, if I go bishop e4, bishop f5, but bishop c6 I can even take. I can also go d3. Bishop e4, of course, Magnus plays. No, some pressure. Some pressure. Some pressure is there. Yes, I can easily play rook ac1. You can go some h6. If Magnus loses this one, then he's losing the match. As much as I remember, Magnus only once lost from similar match situation. He was playing against MVL, and MVL uh, was in. He won the losers bracket and reached to the finals. And Magnus, of course, he won all his previous matches, but MVL won um, two matches in a row against Magnus and won the title. And now let's say if this game somehow Duda wins, uh, yes, he will equalize, and then the winner of the next match wins the title. Rook c1, I like. I like white is having some pressure. Maybe bishop e8 you can go, but anyway, you have problems. I can double my rooks on c5. I can also go rook fd1, and I don't see how can you free your pieces. Knight doesn't go anywhere. Even if you go knight a7, yes, it's nothing. Knight b5, I can always play queen somewhere. And then h6 to that place, knight d2, knight is coming to c4 or maybe b3 and then c5. Yes, both ideas are okay. Magnus doesn't double at the moment or doesn't play rook fd1. Queen e6, maybe preparing f5, maybe f5 ideas are real. But again, I'm not sure because let's say I go knight c4, you go f5, I go bishop f3. I can also go knight b3 and then knight c5. f5, bishop f3. No, but if knight b3, he might go this. He might go this, and then e4 is coming. Again, g7 isn't hanging, and you need to take at some point, I guess. And Magnus goes knight c4. Another idea was definitely to go knight b3. Hmm. I agree. I agree with you. I always lose these positions for black. I never find a decent plan for black here. Yes. And Duda is also having some problems, but he managed to play f5 and then queen f7. But this should be. I can take knight d6 and then a4 b5 maybe. I don't want to take on d6 because your bishop on d6 doesn't do anything, and you don't threaten e4 because e4 I just take f takes e bishop e2, and yes, it looks okay more or less for. It's of course very bad that you are losing, but I understand because positions are unpleasant. And we have Another uh, comment. Hello, sir. My age is 16 this year and I have left school. I want to give full-time chess and I'm going into to play 3 GM tournaments in 21 days. How should I prepare? I want to become a top player. My FIDE 1900. Hello, and I wish all the best to you in your journey. And I think you are going to play tournaments in India. And I also got invitation. Very strong chess tournaments. I would play in other circumstances. I would play with the pleasure, but no, I cannot. And I think you need to work before the tournament, like at least some many hours every day, because you are going to play very strong tournaments. Also, my videos on my channel are instructive. You can check them out. If you want to know some openings, please. Felix Blochberger is having very instructive YouTube channel. I recommend very much, and also Greg Must Reader. All those channels I recommend because I'm constantly following all of them. And Magnus goes h3, and again, e4 shouldn't be working because takes, maybe even bishop takes e4 and queen g6, and Magnus instantly goes queen e2. I think he's ready. Yes, e4 is nothing because I can at least take and go bishop h5 and then take on d6. I can also go bishop g4. So Magnus, in this way, he's stopping e4. And f4, yes, f4 I don't like again because you can go f4 actually, because after f4 I don't have e4. Maybe f4 can be an option because you threaten some bishop h3. Yes, and d4 bishop h3 is coming. No, Duda goes queen g5 because you are committing your structure and giving this e4 square. So maybe knight d6 and then a4. No, but a4, e4. But Magnus needs to start at some point pushing some of the pawns, no? I look this knight d6, something like this. This is my point, and then a4. No, but a4 I can take knight b4. This I saw, and my idea was to go bishop a3, but you can go a5. Yes, you can go a5. No need to. You can go g3. No, g3 f4 is coming. Let's not. How? Wait. Magnus played knight d6 and a4. Please. This is another level for me. This is another level for me, dear friends, because I've been showing this knight d6 and a4, and Magnus just played. What is happening? Bishop a3, a5. Bishop a3, a5. I'm guessing. I'm guessing some of the moves. Bishop a3. You need to play bishop a3. Bishop a3, I guess, because okay, you don't have time for any a5. You don't have time. Maybe Magnus wants to play rook c7. Actually, yes, rook c7 can be interesting. No, but wait, what am I saying? Because bishop a4, rook e7. Rook is defended on e7. Thank you, David. Thank you very much. David, please tell us about you, because no doubts you are a rated chess player, and maybe even you have title. Yes, bishop a3, a5, bishop b4, a takes b, and I was optimistic, but now I don't like this knight d6 and a4 ideas, because a huge part of my advantage is gone. Maybe some h4 intermediate moves. Rook c4 he goes. Yes, but I mean, you are playing for equality, no? Magnus is playing for equality. So I'm not sure to be happy or not, because I guessed about maybe 3, 4 moves in a row that Magnus played, but Well, why b5? Why not bishop a4? So b5, a takes b, bishop takes b4. A takes b, he wanted to go e4 and then bishop b5. Whoa, Duda. Duda is super close to win this game, and it's nothing. It's just nothing. You need to go e4, bishop d5, and Magnus play this, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Yes, if you take e4 comes and then bishop b5. Yes, sir, I'm from India, but which are part should I work on? My openings are not well prepared. Should I understand? Hmm. Yes, you can. You can. Once again, if you are interested, you can check out my videos in my channel. A lot of instructive videos. Also, Felix Blochberger or Greg Must Reader. They are having a lot of recommendations, a lot of opening videos, and I'm sure most of them you will like. I am a weak international master from Romania. I enjoy watching strong players and enjoy the game, rarely using my brain nowadays. Of course, nowadays no one really uses his brain much, and somehow Magnus got again better position. I won't be surprised if Magnus wins from this position because he's already better. You go bishop d5 or even bishop b1. Oh, international master, of course. Thank you very much for joining my stream, and it's my pleasure to have you here. And how old are you? Wow, Duda does not care about bishop and goes this. I think they maybe blundered. Queen f2 isn't coming. No, queen f2, bishop d1, and then this. But queen f2, I have also queen g5. Wait, queen f2 is winning. No, not really. What are they doing? Thank you, 29 years old. I know some players from Romania. Of course, Deak Bogdan. Oh, oh, Mr. Magnus, bye bye. Mr. Magnus, bye bye. Oh, what a heavy blunder. What a heavy blunder. Magnus can easily resign. Whoa, what a blunder. From slightly better position, Magnus can. And of course, this is lost. Even I can win. Even I can win because Queen G4 is probably completely winning, right? Oh, and of course, Magnus resigns. Whoa. Second blunder in a row. Oh, Magnus must be. Please, please. This is Lichess or chess.com 14 or 1500 level. The rook takes g2. And but the main problem is queen f8 doesn't bring anything. If you take the rook, then queen h4 comes and queen e1, and later on I can easily trade the queens. Wow, what a luck! And of course, this means that they are entering to the grand finals. And Duda is in good shape because Duda lost only one match to Magnus. We can check it here. So he started with the loss against Jan, and then he won against Jan, and then he won against Sina, and then he won against Nihal. I think he crushed Nihal, right? 3-0, yes. And then he lost to Magnus. He lost to Magnus, yes, and now he's back and he won. Oh, of course, the match is over. Uh, I think they are going to play. No, Magnus lost, and we are going to have Grant in the final. Hmm. I will download this. So in 32 minutes. Oh, 8 people. Thank you very much. When are we going to? When are we going to have? Wait, where can I check? I apologize. I need to check how much time do we have. And Sahaj Grover is also uh, commentating on Chesscom India. No, I'm trying to check how long are we having our break. How long are we having our break? But seems like uh, no information. No information. Yes, he blundered. What a beautiful move, Bishop takes f3. Okay. Yes, dear viewers, if you somehow see any information, let me know. I will continue playing my daily chess. And queen c6, yes, my opponent goes queen c6. If I take, he takes, then black should be okay, maybe even more than okay. Uh, I would like to go queen h1, but the main problem is my knight g5 ideas are not that dangerous. He can always play king g7, not taking on g5. And if I go queen b2, I can, of course, and maybe I need to play But knight b5, he plays a4, knight c3. Okay, let's play queen b2. Maybe my opponent isn't playing fair fairly. No, it seems like a grand final we have in some play online. Let's see who is online. Ricardo, of course. Oh, they are playing? Of course, they started. So good. No, I don't like, honestly speaking, this is not the first time. I don't like how, because even for former chess professionals, it's so difficult to understand when players are going to start because it has been showing some 28 minutes, 30 minutes, and you see that they started. So another match, Queen H1 with the idea of knight G5, King G7, H5. Maybe is a. Oh, if I would seen your message earlier, I think I pressed right. I confirmed my move. I think I confirmed my move. Oh, I haven't seen that idea. If I would seen it, I would go. I think I pressed right. I confirmed my move. I have some unpleasant positions. Confirmed my move. Oh, no, I confirmed my move. And Duda is having black pieces again. And now they are under and in equal terms. Who scores 2.5 wins the match. And let's see. Yes, yes. It's double, of course, it's double uh, elimination. Rookie one short castle. Oh, yes, rook c1, maybe rook c1, bishop b1. What else you can do? Uh, yes, I would go rook c1, bishop b1. Magnus goes bishop c2, but now b4 maybe. Maybe b4 Magnus wants to play knight a4. Because a takes b, knight b4, that looks quite... and b4, yes, b4. And now knight a4. You need to go knight a4, I guess, but I'm not sure. A takes b, knight takes b4. Looks okay for black. No one is going to move my knight away. Okay, b4. What else do you want? Some knight e4, but knight e4 is... It is possible. I can take knight e4. No, knight e4 just. Bishop e4, bishop g5, bishop... Wow, wow. And now we see the differences. G6, knight a4, of course. In between move, you take, I go bishop f6. G takes f4, bishop f6, queen h7 comes and checkmate. G6 I will take and then b takes c. So g6 and knight a4. Magnus goes knight a4, but first he provokes g7, g6. B takes a, I will take b takes a, I guess. And of course they are trading. And Magnus wants to go at some point knight c5. Why not? You can always play this unpleasant move of rook b1 and Duda, maybe knight d5. Maybe knight d5, Knight d5 he goes. Knight c5 is an option, but I can take bishop g5 and then queen f6. Shouldn't be much. If you take bishop e7, I will take knight e7. You can go knight c5, but I have bishop c6. And Magnus goes bishop h6, of course. He's so strong. Knight c5. If I take bishop c5, which is possible, but... Yes, if I take, you will take. And of course, at the moment, we don't really feel dark squares to be weak. And knight e4 isn't working, of course. Nothing is working. Yes, maybe Duda is in some trouble. Duda young Christoph is in some trouble. And here what? Knight b7, queen b7, knight e6, f takes c, rook e6. Looks super tempting. And rook e6, f takes c, knight e6. I can try rook b1. I can easily try rook b1. And yes, maybe you need to take rook c1. Magnus isn't. Bishop c5, I will take d takes c. Rook c8. No one cares. And Magnus had I. Oh, bishop a4. This is. I don't like it. I don't like it. I can just h4. Magnus tries from everywhere. Knight e4 ideas aren't working. So this one didn't go well for Duda, and Magnus is. Might be. Might be, but this should be lost, no? This should be lost. I have so many moves, and all of them are super tempting. I can go bishop b3 even if I want. I'm thinking to start sacrificing maybe knight e6, f takes rook e6. Knight e6 might also work. Knight e6, f takes rook e6, knight a4, rook g6. I won't be surprised if Magnus goes knight e6. I can take knight b7. That one is also tempting. Knight a4, knight d8, queen b7. You will take. I have bishop c6, rook c6, rook c6, queen c6, knight e5. But okay, I can go knight a6. No, knight a6, bishop a6. You will take. Bishop c6. Yeah, bishop c6 is also tempting, but bishop takes. What if knight e6, f takes c, and bishop b3? Magnus plays the most. Knight e6 might be winning. Of course, knight e6. Please. Knight e6, f takes c, rook e6. I need to trust myself more. Bishop b3, of course, Magnus plays the most natural, and this is unfortunately for Duda, young Christoph. This no knight e6, knight e6, bye bye, knight e6, GG. Magnus doesn't even take, but again, knight takes should be knight e6, rook e6. Magnus doesn't take. Magnus goes h5, of course, takes. But knight e6, f takes c, rook e6. You just calculate a bit and then game is over. So many threads. Queen d6. No, I can take bishop d5. No, I can take bishop d5. And Magnus will play bishop d5. Yes, no doubts. And this is in a different ways. You can try anything you want, anything you wish. Maybe queen d2. Queen d2, bishop f4, maybe ideas. You can also go some rook b1 stuff. No need to blunder some knight d4 stuff. To выиграет. Young Magnus would have played 96, yes. Of course, not only young Magnus, also uh, our Magnus, and even now. Yes, and I said that Magnus will win, but I was partly wrong, but still, if Magnus wins, then it means Magnus won the match. That was much more important. But of course, I will be rooting for Duda. Yes, Queen e3. But this one is we can already resign. Super unpleasant situation. Bishop is coming to f4 from everywhere. f6 he goes. Duda is of course trying. Duda is trying. Maybe we need to go knight h4. Maybe knight h4. But king f7. Duda will go. Uh, yes, but we have queen d3, knight e7. I like knight h4 and very much. You can go queen d3 as well. Rook b1. Magnus is of course trying rook b1. You are so much tied up. I can even go rook b6. And rook c7 ideas are not there. Rook d7 you need to play, but bishop f4 comes. Bishop f4, and then your position might collapse. Might collapsing. What? What are you doing? You aren't active in my chat. Okay. What? Bishop a8. Are you rooting for Magnus or for Duda? Bishop a8. Okay, this is yes, after rook b6. Ay, ay, ay. Maybe a rook e8, but okay, who cares about? Oh, not the blunder, Duda. Why, why? What a blunderfest. Of course, I think Duda will resign. Yes, rook b6, bishop d6 comes, and yes, nothing, nothing. Duda will maybe take a couple of more seconds and then resign. Unfortunately, we are losing. We are so far losing, but next game they will start very soon. I just remembered something which is uh, in my childhood. Um, yes, hello, hello. So in my childhood, when I was like maybe 10, 11 or 12, uh, in our chess club, uh, like people and of course not professional chess players, but they were very fast and quick and sharp. And you know, they would play for some money. For example, one game, and winner gets, let's say, €1, or even less, maybe than €1. And you know, they had one very clever trick or trap. So what was that trick? Let's say you are new in that world and you don't know that who is playing or who is playing well and who is sharp and who is fast. So let's say you just came and you are playing them and they would lose. Intentionally, they would lose. So they are losing the game. They are losing some money, like I don't know, maybe two, three, €5, and then they ask, "Okay, let's play more." But this time we increase the stakes. Let's say we play one game for €2, but of course they already could feel they are way stronger than this new player. So now, with a huge respect to them, but I have the same feeling. Magnus felt that if he plays uh, with all his strength, he will win this match. So he lost first match, and now he's of course dominating again. But of course, just I remember something from my childhood, nothing special. Queen d3, g6, knight a4, and here rook c8, knight a7 takes, and you need to move your knight because yes, yes, inaccuracy. Yes, yes, yes. Knight d5 and no bishop h6. He forgot about bishop h6. Otherwise, if you take knight d7 comes, but this and knight c5 takes. This is unpleasant. Okay, I think they should be starting. Yes, they already started. It should be best of four, not best of two, as much as I know. As much as I know. When will this finally be over? Someone is asking in chat room. I think at least maximum four more games. Of course, if they are playing a best of four. If best of two, then two more games. Ah, this is the last match. It means best of two. Wow. Best of two, knight h7. Magnus goes with the typical ideas to go knight g5. Um, yes, hard to say. Ah, no, no, no. Of course, in the chat they are wrong because they are still discussing it's four or two games. Queen b3. Yes, queen b3 you can. But anyway, I want to get my king on g7. Yes, I was about. I'm more scared about d4 ideas, but maybe d4 I just play bishop f6. This is my point. Maybe this is the idea. I want to play bishop f6. Yes, d4, bishop f6 we see, and the knight is anyway coming to g5. And if you take knight g5, I can take with the pawn. d5 ideas are nothing. You can try bishop b5 or bishop d5, and then maybe take this bishop or try knight c4. But first of all, you should be careful that after bishop d5, some e takes d moves aren't working, and then bishop c6, d takes c3. Hmm. Lonely planet. Magnus Aura. Hello. Hello, hello, how long? I thought only two games plus Armageddon if needed, but now see four games plus Armageddon. Yes, it means four games. So this game doesn't mean anything, but of course, if Magnus draws with the black pieces and the next one he wins, he is the winner. Duda does not care about it XD, and Magnus doesn't even uh, spend a second. Knight g5, rook d1. And again, you can take, but I'm not big fan of your knight on g5. Let's say if you are going to trade your c6 knight with my knight on f3. Queen e7, another healthy move. Maybe rook f e1. I think you need to go rook f e1. And king h1. King h1, I would go rook f e1, but yes, Duda doesn't like it. Maybe by rook e1 we are only uh, making it takes d4 ideas harder for opponent, nothing else. And he goes. Yes, he goes rook e1. I think here you need to try to bring your knight to d5. But it's very difficult because if you move the knight from d2, then knight f3 comes. And if you take knight g5, h takes g, rook is coming to h8, and you will get checkmated very soon. So no time to bring the knight to d5. Again, maybe I can go bishop d5. I can also try this knight g1, but does it make... No, knight g1, e takes d. You will take e takes d. I was thinking maybe to move the knight. No, I don't think Magnus has any problems, and we have rook a d8 by Magnus. He also does not rush. He's making some waiting moves. Now bishop d5. You need to go bishop d5. Magnus might go b6 or might not go b6. Yes, queen b3. Still, I'm not sure what's the refutation and why does e takes d uh, have problems. Let me check my... James Blunder. No, more than 10,000 people are watching on chess.com, and only few people are liking. Whoa, whoa, knight h2. And again, I was super close to guess knight h2 and Magnus takes, of course, and Magnus goes knight e6 and knight g4. And let's not forget that a couple of years ago, Magnus and Duda they played each other, and Magnus lost, and Duda won the World Cup. Yes, you have different ideas at 5, e5, maybe knight f3, d takes c, b takes c. I think very decent compensation, but I'm scared of some bishop h4 ideas. But bishop h4, I can take a knight f3. Will Magnus go queen g3? Maybe. Oh, blunder. Blunder by Magnus. Another blunder. Another blunder, bishop g3, f6 is coming. But he might take bishop g6, f6, queen f6, knight f6, king f6. Because knight g5 is nothing, you can go knight f6, knight c5. Yes, knight c5, but knight f3. Yes, Magnus is in some trouble. Magnus. Let's see the queen sacrifice, please. Yes, this knight h2, Magnus. He goes knight c5, doesn't take on g3, and yes, knight f3 looks super tempting. I think yes, knight f3. I can take bishop h4, queen h4, but if I go knight f3, you have queen g3, and no, maybe that one, maybe that one, and you will be checkmating. So takes knight f3, queen g3, and Magnus Carlsen. Ah, queen d2. I need to play, and g5 isn't working, h5 isn't working. You need to go rook h8. And I fully understand. Of course, Duda goes for this. Duda doesn't. Magnus was ready to sacrifice his queen, but oh, queen h5. I blundered this. I think Duda as well. Oh, this is of course. And here you see. So this, and now you need to take bishop g3 f6, queen takes f6, and then king takes f6. And now knight f3, bishop g3, queen d2. Oh, what a blunder. Duda hasn't seen. Maybe queen h5 instead of queen g3, even though it looks. No, no, you are right. You are absolutely right. I. Wait, maybe actually Duda hasn't blundered. He wanted to go this, but again, bishop g4 and bishop h5. Maybe this is the idea, right? Rook d5, f6, and if I go f6, you go king hg. Whoa, you don't go. You go this. And then if I go rook d5, you don't take bishop g4 because that is lost. In the end, g4 comes. Wow, g5. Please like and subscribe. Oh, only in the esports World Cup it was two for a decider match. And Duda is already having less than 3 minutes and 10 seconds. And he goes f6. He's and king h7, not the strongest. Not the strongest because Magnus, what does rook d5? Magnus. G5 with the king on it. He's crazy. He should be crazy. He should be crazy. Like, what is this? I have e5. I have so many other moves. I have knight g5, h2. G, I can take knight h6. But what if I take knight h6? I just want to open up the position, but I'm not sure I checkmate. Do I need to take knight h6 or do I need to... You threaten bishop g4. So I don't have time for queen d2. You can take bishop g4, knight g5, h2g, queen g5, rook g5. Do I have? I might be having. e5, king h8. What does Duda want? This is super complicated. I'm not sure what should I play. Super complicated and Duda isn't having any time. He goes knight h2, but this doesn't look. And bishop e6. Magnus instantly goes bishop e6. And yes, you can take rook c5, d takes c, bishop e6, f takes c, but that can only be some compensation. And yes, he goes on queen b3. And yes, queen b3, very smart. This cannot be worse. Magnus is having again some problems. Because if you take, if white takes queen e6, black can resign. And if white takes queen b7, well, maybe you need to go, but where do you want? No, again, Magnus is losing. Magnus is in huge trouble, right? Look at this. And this is complicated with the king on h8 would have been. And now you need to play this. You need to play queen g6, but wow. And it is working. Bishop e6 is the strongest. Wow, he managed to play this. Look at this. This is another level. This is just another level. To understand, you need to keep this pawn on e6. You need to bring your knight from c6, that your knight doesn't do anything. You need to bring it to f7 and then start pushing h5. Like, this is another level. This is just another level of understanding. Maybe not the strongest. Rook d5, queen b7, and maybe knight e5 is coming. Huh? No. What's the point? Knight e5 is coming. Whoa. So he goes this, and then knight f7, and then takes this, takes, and then h5. And Duda is in trouble. Duda is in trouble. Yes, king g1, some crazy stuff. Magnus can win this. Magnus can easily because 1 minute and 15 seconds is almost nothing. Position remains super complicated. One inaccuracy can be enough. No, I don't think I can take 95, but I can easily. Oh, he goes 95 and 96. He does want to take rook c3, right? Rook c3, rook c5. Magnus goes. He plays like a machine. Machine. Oh, yes. If Duda loses this, and Magnus needs to draw the final one, and no, I don't think Duda deserved losing this one, but this is what we have. This is what we have, but still, game goes on because, uh, of course, Duda is not worse here, but the problem is 40 seconds, 40 or 38 seconds, and still a lot of game on the board. Yes, queen f2 he plays. He doesn't. I think maybe one of the strongest. Knight d3 I can go f7. No, knight d3 I cannot. And g3, he definitely, and maybe he blundered something already. Queen b6, and Magnus wants to play queen h5 maybe? What if I play queen h8, check king h7, and then knight f7? I will play queen c7 check, huh? Queen h6, Magnus goes. What are the... What is happening? Queen e7? King g6? Let's see. Probably Magnus... will Magnus play for win, or will he offer a draw? Because Duda is having only 12 seconds. No, but you have some problems. No, Magnus will win, of course. But how exactly you continue? No, Duda isn't having problems, but at the same time, rook c1, rook e3. No, I don't like Magnus's idea of pinning himself. No, this should be lost. This should be lost. This should be lost because you have only 3 seconds. You have only 3 seconds. Very unfortunately for Duda, and Magnus won. Magnus won on time. Yes, what can we say? It's super sad. It's super sad, but this is the reality. Please like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe. Yes, you can see my chess.com, my leeches, my YouTube, and yes, here Mr. Yanistan. Yes, I also very much recommend his YouTube channel. Unfortunately, I don't speak, I don't read German. Otherwise, I would join and enjoy. Yes, he goes King f7. Yes, this cannot be. Okay, let's go Rook h3. Just making this Rook hg8 ideas harder. And yes, 2-0, and basically Magnus won this. And Magnus won. But Duda could repeat the position 3 times, very strange. No, but are you sure it was because I thought Magnus wants to play King h8, King h... Ah, no, he could go Queen e8 and Queen g7. Yes, you are right. You are right. You are absolutely right. And let's go here. And because I have downloaded something and game of Mr. Mr. Vishy Arms. Very vicious game. Yes, I wanted to check this game also, but Duda could repeat. Yes, it was just two game match. Really? Are you sure? So match is over? No, no, no. Game three. Look at this. Game three. Okay, I was d4 knight f6. So this is Vishy Anand is playing Leon Livaic, German Bundesliga. Not today. Uh, maybe yesterday. So this is well known here. You can take d takes c, d takes c, queen d8, king takes d8, bishop c4, but king e8 is the main move. So knight f3, and here we know knight b d7, but Leon Livaic he goes he takes d. Both queen d4, knight c6, and bishop b5 or moving the queen. Knight takes d4, bishop e7, and here of course white is having many different moves and different setups. Like you can go g3, bishop g2, you can go bishop e2. Yes, but always been bishop f always been the strongest and the main continuation. And short castle queen d2 with the idea is to go long castle. Yes, another option is to go knight c6, long castle. You take knight d4, queen d4, and you go a6. Yes, this is well known. Knight c6, long castle. You take queen takes d4, and here a6. Yes, a6. Yes, usually the c5 does not give much. You take c queen e5, then bishop d6, bishop f4, queen e7. Yes, you need to start playing this f3, but d5. Uh, yes, you have this long castle, and maybe long castle makes some sense. You know, long castle, you cannot take d takes c because of some queen e1, and c5 isn't working because of knight b5, I guess, right? Yes, knight b5, d4, knight c7, d takes c, queen d8, I guess. And if you take knight e4, what's the point? Yes, you take, I take, and you go bishop c4. And bishop f6 or bishop c5, rook is coming to e1. Okay, knight b5 always been the main, and now bishop b4. And I need to castle. You need to play c6, because if you take knight e4, I guess queen d5 ideas should be finishing the game. Yes, of course. You go c6, and I go knight c7. And knight e4, important move. And I go queen d4, and knight takes c3. Yes, another move is, of course, to go bishop takes. Because bishop c5, you will take queen e4, and then you will take rook d8 and knight takes a8. Let's say this. Those are the moves. If I go this, you take queen e4. This is super simple. D takes a, rook d8 comes. And if you take, I take with the bishop. And then I take here. This is unpleasant. You need to play bishop b6. And I can just play bishop g3 with the idea of bishop c4. Knight is coming to d6. So this, I will take b takes c, queen e7. And this is important. c4 to stop all. Yes, you go queen a3, I go queen b2, of course. You take, I take, queen a5. I already start taking on a8. You go knight f2, and some bishop d2, or even bishop e2. So Leon played knight c3, b takes c, and now bishop a3, king d2 ideas, bishop f5. And the point is being, if I just get, you play. Yes, this is the idea. Yes, knight c7. I think once I even got this position, queen a7, bishop c5, knight, bishop e3, queen a8, queen a7 to take, but knight c5 first. And here you go, bishop c5, and it is important to get the bishop on b6. Queen a4, bishop b6, bishop d3, knight c5. Okay, king b1 is the strongest. Vishy, of course, plays. And here we have bishop e6, knight a8, queen a5, or first bishop g4, provoking this f3 and going back to e6. And now knight a8, of course, and queen a5. So this is move number 15, but still Leon Livaic is in his prep. And bishop c7, we should play it. Another move is to go bishop d2. So bishop d2, you can also try knight a6, I start pushing c4, you go bishop b4. Yes, I take c takes d, you take with the bishop, I go not c4, no c4, bishop e6. I need to take, you are taking with the knight, and I go bishop c4, you go b5, bishop takes d5, knight d5, king b2, stopping knight c3, rook a8, rook e1, and white is of course better. Now bishop d2 looks promising move. Hmm. And knight a6 is needed. You go c4. Okay, knight b4, c takes d, completely lost. Bishop b4, I take c takes d. You need to take with the bishop. Again, bishop b4, you need to take bishop a2, nothing, queen a2, nothing. You need to take, and bishop c4. Yes, you can go rook a8, c3. You can take bishop c4. You can even try b5. But no need to worry. I just take. You need to take. C takes d doesn't look. Queen b2, always I can play. Queen b2 is the strongest. Yes, you need to take, and this is unpleasant. This is unpleasant. Queen c5, rook e1. Of course, not lost, but seems like you don't have enough forces to really threaten. But Vishy played bishop c7. I don't think for this game Vishy checked this line, and maybe last time he checked this was very long time ago. Okay, a takes b, queen b6, queen a8. You have, I think, position after a takes b, queen b6, queen a8 looks more dangerous than uh, positions after bishop d2. So knight a6. Yes, you need to take. And now a takes b. Queen b6. Queen takes b6. Bishop takes b6. Rook b8. And now bishop c4. Important move. D takes d. Rook d8. Game over. Yes, you need to take at some point. Bishop b3, of course. And we have this position. It's not lost, but it is unpleasant. So g6 and h6 or king f8 are the moves. For me, with the white pieces, will be super difficult to eventually make any real improvement. It also will be hard for black to improve his position. You can go some g6, king g7, but not much. So it was c5, threatening c4, but c4 and d4. It turns out that this is better for white than the previous structure with the pawns on c6 and d5. And now c3. Yes, you can go h5, or this is lost, but he played this, and now h5, trying to stop g4 ideas, I guess, and now takes rook e6, and here in this position, Vichy went for move repetition. He played d5, rook e2, threatening checkmate in 1, and now rook b1, the only move, and bishop b4. Threatening checkmate, if you play rook h to c1, then rook g2, and this, bishop a3. Black is even having ideas to go bishop a5 and then bishop d8. So instead of playing this, g4 would have been way stronger. Bishop g6, g takes h, and then d5. So let's say this, and then d5. Computer says this is winning because rook e2. You go rook b1 and bishop b4. You play this. And if I take, for example, you just go rook b2. No, you don't play rook b2, you play some d6. And if I take, you take it with the pawn. So bishop g4, rook e1, and bishop g6, again, the same ideas are working. First of all, we are trading this pawn on h5. Second, we don't give our pawn on g2, and we have threats like d6. And another point is being like, if I go bishop h7, you continue the take c because now you have back rank issues. Okay, thank you very much for wishes, sir. To wishes, sir, for this game against Leon Levite. And Vichy, he was super close. He was. He most likely, of course, he analyzed, he checked, but I assume very long time ago. But he remembered or he figured out over the board, and he got very good chances and winning position. But for some reason, he didn't push g4 and didn't win the game suddenly. Mhm. Let's see if we have our third game. Should be no, not really, not yet. So match is over. Match cannot be over, right? Match cannot be over, right? Oh, Magnus won. Magnus won because yes, Magnus won. Yes, he was in super safe. He could make a draw. He could win the game. Yes. Thank you very much, friends, for supporting my stream and for staying with me. Appreciate very much, and I'm grateful for that. Please like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe. Magnus giving interview right now. Yes, yes. Magnus giving interview. Uh, yes, congrats to Magnus. Congrats to Duda. And yes, you are very much welcome. And what else are we having? Probably others are uh, just online because we don't have any tournaments today. Yes, and some players are playing. Maybe Nico Teodoro against yes, Dr. Tiger. They are playing some Blitz game. Yes, I need to start playing at some point. I was thinking the other day maybe every day 1 hour Blitz. Yeah, stream and Blitz can be instructive. Yes, but today we of course analyzed chess.com open. And let me see. Yes, we are more than 2 hours online, and of course, important tournament, Greenlandic